You know, the internet is our lifeline for information, communication, and entertainment. And imagine a world where the internet suddenly disappears. This is not the pilot of a dystopian novel. It is a real possibility that scientists are warning us about. According to scientists, by July 2025, we will witness a catastrophic space weather event that could trigger an internet apocalypse. According to experts, this catastrophe occurs once every 100 years. Syria will be among those affected by this rare event. Now, I know that what you are thinking, internet apocalypse? Space weather? Does that mean? Let me take you on a journey through time to make sense of these terms. Let's rewind to a century ago, when the world was grappling with two major disasters. The first of this, the famous Spanish flu, I think no needs to introduction. The impact was devastating and lasted for 3 years, claiming millions of lives around the world. But it was followed by another, lesser-known disaster, a storm that lasted only 3 days. In May 1921, this storm caused fires in electrical and telegraph control rooms around the world, from the USA to the UK and even India and New Zealand. Even the electronic equipment used at the time suddenly began to fail. Before the amazing chaos, the skies over New York were painted with the aurora borealis, a visual feast usually reserved for the polar regions. Yes, the northern lights were seen as far south as New York City, reportedly illuminating the night so intensely that it was even possible to read the newspaper at night without using lights. So what caused this phenomenon? As you know, the sun is like a big stove that gets its energy from hydrogen and helium, and sometimes there are explosions dozens of times the size of the Earth at regular intervals due to material trapped inside. Scientists regularly monitor the black spots on the surface of the sun where these explosions occur. Take a look at how much bigger these spots are than the Earth. It's quite gigantic, isn't it? The event known as the aurora borealis was the result of charged particles from the sun carried by the solar wind, colliding with the Earth's magnetic field. Fortunately, the Earth's atmosphere and magnetic field act as a protective shield, often protecting us from the space disasters. The intensity of the solar activity varies, but approximately every 11 years it reacts a peak known as solar maximum. We have been tracking these cycles since the 1700 and have noticed that in addition to regular 11-year cycles, there are also longer 88-year cycles that can lead to violent solar storms. So, as we stand on the brink of another potential 88-year cycle, it is not just about witnessing a beautiful aura, it is about preparing for a storm that could disturb our modern life, the internet. It reminds us of our defenses against the whims of the sun and the importance of being prepared for the unexpected. Just think back to past, when the advent of electricity and telegraph marked the beginning of our interconnected world. Although these new infrastructures were affected by solar storms, they didn't stop the way of life of our grandparents. The last 30 years of technological miracles and global networks have coincided with a period of stagnation solar activity. Our modern miracles have yet to be tested against the fury of a great solar storm. A total of 24 solar cycles have been recorded until now, and as we head into the 25th solar cycle, experts predict a resurgence in a solar activity that will peak around July 2025. The exact timing of these sky storms escape us, much like the unpredictability of earthquakes, but their probability increases during these activity periods, similar to the rhythmic oscillation of a pendulum clock. Okay, what happens if the solar storm of the century happens at the peak of our technological dependence? This scenario is unique. A typical land storm can knock out power locally, but a solar storm has the power to trigger a global blackout. What about a prolonged worldwide internet outage? The results of this are unknown. In previous solar cycles, we didn't have so many technological devices, so it is hard to know how much damage it could do to us now, because a solar storm of the magnitude that could plunge us into darkness has not been seen since the birth of the internet. There is one website that can give us approximation, although we don't know its effects. To measure the impact, let's turn to NetBlocks, a platform that analyzes the economic cost of internet outage. A one-week internet outage costs Turkey over $1 billion, while on a global scale, this figure is closer to $500 billion. While such an outage may not directly risk human life, the ripple effect caused by the disruption of critical service could pose an indirect threat to our survival. Scientists have been recording solar activity for nearly 4 centuries, but Earth has been keeping its own records for much longer, written in tree rings and polar ice. Recent studies have been uncovered evidence of massive cosmic events dating back 10,000 years. What worries us the most is, what if all our electronic devices break down? What if all the data we have stored is erased? Imagine that all of humanity's digital memory is suddenly wiped and lost in an instant. What kind of a world would await us then? We are looking at a catastrophe unlike anything modern humanity has ever witnessed. Let's hope it is not a massive solar flare, the kind that happens once every 100 years. Actually, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it happened with a coronavirus, a pandemic that comes once in 100 years. Do you think a space weather catastrophe is next? Imagine the chaos in the world if such a catastrophe were to occur. Imagine air, sea, and land vehicles suddenly causing various accidents. Or imagine a situation where life support units in hospital would stop working, emergency support would be unavailable by phone, and looting would suddenly increase due to the chaos. How scary is that? Of course, this is the worst possible scenario, so we can say that a cosmic explosion of this magnitude will definitely happen. We share a world as small as a bacterium in a universe the size of an ocean, where everything can change in an instant. We have no other world but this blue one. Let's take care of it and the people who live on it. Have a clear sky and stay healthy until the next video.